Red in Ohio has been waiting for so long, so I want to give Red an opportunity to come on. Pronouns are she, her, and I think we definitely agree on what you're calling about. Red, what's on your mind?
Hello. Yeah. I've been thinking about this while I've been in queue for a while. Like the
Yeah,
call
I'm sorry
screen
about
says,
that.
oh, oh, can
Go
you hear me?
ahead.
I'm sorry. I think it's cutting
Yeah,
out.
go ahead.
Okay, sorry
You're
about
good.
that. My audio is kind of a bit choppy right now. But I wanted to discuss how not. I don't want to say that all religions leads to child abuse or abuse in general. I don't think that's fair of me to say, but I do think that the way most religions are set up, it can lead very easily to child abuse through indoctrination, through like what you guys were talking earlier, the fear of hell. That was one of the big things for me when I was younger, was the fear of hell, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that can kind of relate to that. But I just wanted to see what your guys' thoughts were on that.
Sure, Paul.
Um, Lots of thoughts. I mean, it really depends on how you're defining child abuse, of course, and one needs to be very careful because that's a if you're
Hmm.
just tossing that around casually, that's not most
Yeah.
people will take that very much the wrong way, and or if you're using it the right way, you maybe have watered down. So, for example, the Southern Baptist Convention recently um, discovered within their organizations that they literally were covering up some things that under the law would be considered to be child abuse. And that's so very serious. And I'm not saying the other forms aren't serious, but that's a different category. So I am reluctant
Yeah.
often to say that indoctrination is child abuse, even though, uh, in a way, if you want how you want to define it, are you harming a child? I agree with you that you are. I think anytime you are having someone incorporate either a belief methodology and epistemology that incorporates false data, or if you're even if you have good epistemology but you are convincing people of false data, I think that alone is enough to be called harm. And that's why I actually will use the term anti-theist when I know a lot of people don't love
Hmm.
that term, but I actually I'm willing to adopt it when I'm allowed to give the definition, because I feel like that alone is enough to define some level of harm. I think different individuals are harmed at different levels. I think that I was harmed, even though I wouldn't have said so until I left. I would have not recognized it. Um, and I think, yeah. So I guess that's sort of my piece. That, but of course, if you add on to it, anytime you've set up a structure where you are having people make decisions based on faulty premises, such as for myself when I was accepting things, whatever an authority told me, I just accepted. When you put someone in that position, then you definitely are making them vulnerable to other more serious things, right? So I think a lot
Hmm.
of the times when we talk about the actual physical or sexual abuse of people, that came with some. I'm hesitant to use the word grooming because that word has been corrupted these days, but it's come. That's not step one in the process, right? Isn't the abuse? This step
Hmm.
one is wandering people down a path where suddenly that's acceptable based on the new information or the new epistemology you've given people. So on that, we agree. And I think I've said a lot of words in a row, so I want to pass this back to Nate and to you to see if that resonates.
Well, I definitely agree with what you said. I think it was Voltaire that said that those that can make you believe absurdities can also make you commit atrocities, and
Right.
that I think is one of the real dangers of theism. Now, to what you specifically said, Red, I think you said that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did you say that religion doesn't necessarily cause harm?
I think what I was trying to mean was that religion can lead to harm. I don't think in all instances it can, because I do have religious friends, and they're very nice to me. They're very open-minded about the world, and they have some very liberal ways of thinking about things. So I don't think religion alone is what causes harm. I think it's the use of religion that can cause some harm, and later down the road could possibly turn into abuse if it's that serious.
I think it's also the extent to which you allow your religion to override your natural decision, your decision-making process otherwise, right? If you say that you're a Christian, but you make decisions on a regular basis that don't incorporate you don't think about your Christianity or your professed Christianity while you're making those decisions, are you really religious? I mean, at that point, you've made an entirely secular decision. So I've learned to try to nuance to say the extent to which someone's religion is affecting their actions, is going to be determined the proportion of cause that individual has. That doesn't say anything about whether the idea itself is good or bad. So, for example, we can all think of religions that specifically call for harm at different times, right? But some of the adherents to those religions don't always use that when they make their decisions day to day. So I think we can condemn the idea as absolutely bad while recognizing that some people sometimes use some of the ideas and sometimes don't. And that's why there's the illusion of non-harm, because they are actually making secular decisions more often than not. Is that I'm trying that out. This is a new thing that I've been thinking about but haven't said out loud before. Did that make any sense?
It made perfect sense to me. Yeah.
I think it does.
Okay.
This is all new to me too, of trying out and thinking new things. That's why I kind of wanted to bounce this discussion off on you guys, because I'm just trying to figure my way out of what's right and wrong and how I should see things differently.
Sure. Well, I think what you got to be mindful of too is that people can use religion, or specifically the Bible, to justify almost anything, right? And I'm reminded, I hate to throw out another quote, but I'm reminded of the great feminist Susan B. Anthony, who said she's always suspicious of people who know what God wants them to do, because it always coincides with what they want to do. So I'm not aware of really any religions that don't cause harm in some form, whether it goes to the level of abuse or not. I think that's a bigger question. But if we're talking about just specifically harm, then yeah, I kind of think they do, and I think we'd be better off without it.
And Red, I would encourage you. You talked about
especially what's going on now. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, sorry, I didn't interrupt you. A little bit of lag. I just wanted to say that you were saying you're thinking now about what's right and wrong, and I think the better way to think about that is forget religions. Think about what you consider to be right and wrong, and then later, once you've got that kind of nailed down, like, is it harm, for example, or is it well-being, or is it thriving, or is there some other basis of what you consider right is the label we give to the things that we prefer, and wrong is the label we give to things that we don't prefer. That's just, it tends to be the case for anyone you talk to. And so for you yourself, when you figure out what goes into the bucket of things you prefer and the bucket of things that you don't prefer, then I think you can figure out when and where religions fit into that.
Yeah.
Well said.
I think that, excuse me.
Yeah, well said. Red, we're gonna move on. I want to try to squeeze in one more caller before we go. But thank you very much for calling in. And if you want to bounce these ideas off other folks, you can always join us in the Atheist Community of Discord, the ACD. And you can bounce your ideas off folks there. So we're actually going to be doing an after show. So if you want to join us there, I don't know if you're on Discord, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for calling in today.
I'll be there.
Nice.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you
see
guys
you there.
very much.
Bye.